The member for Morialty.
Thank you, sir. My question is to the Minister for Education. Will the government be providing universal access for 15 hours of preschool for all 3-year-old children in South Australia in the year 2026?
The Minister.
Thank you, Speaker, and I thank the member for the question. And it's a great opportunity for me to speak about the very bold agenda that the Malinaskis Labor government has set itself in terms of early childhood. And of course, the key plank in that agenda is the commitment that we have made, Speaker, to delivering 3-year-old preschool. I think what we have said publicly, Mr Speaker, is that we will have that begin from 2026. Of course, there are a number of very big issues that we need to deal with first in terms of making sure that we have capacity in the system for those 3-year-old children that we hope will take up preschool. And of course, what we have said, and we have modelled this largely on what is already happening in Victoria, Speaker, where they have announced a 10-year rollout of 3-year-old preschool, that we will do it in stages, most likely, as we first of all, through the Royal Commission that we have announced, look at where existing capacity is, look at where it is not, and put together a structured plan going forward about where we need to build more capacity so we can accommodate those 3-year-olds. I look forward to coming back to the chamber soon, I hope, with more news and updates for members of this place about who will be the Royal Commissioner and when the Royal Commission will start. I'm conscious, obviously, that given we have given ourselves a pretty ambitious timeline in terms of 3-year-old preschool beginning by 2026, that we will need to get cracking. But I make no apologies for the fact that this is a very ambitious piece of work. I think it's probably, in fact, Speaker, fair to say that the movement of Year 7 from primary school to high school was probably the biggest shift of staff and students that we have ever seen in the South Australian education system. That was handled by the former government. But I think 3-year-old preschool will most likely be the biggest structural change that we have seen to what we teach our young people. And there is a wealth of information out there. Many members of this place, I'm sure, will be aware of it, about the importance of the first 1,000 days of a child's life. In particular, I think 90% of the brain development of a young person is complete by the age of 5, and we know that in terms of the best value that government can get in terms of where it spends its money, the best value we can get is investing in the early years, and that's why we are taking this on. But it is a big task, and the member's question specifically pertains to whether or not we will be providing universal access. And of course, there has for many years, Speaker, been an agreement between successive South Australian governments and successive federal governments for 15 hours of free preschool for 4-year-olds in South Australia. Of course, I welcome the news of a newly elected Albanese Labor government, and I look forward as the Education Minister in South Australia to working with them to see if we can't come to an agreement about how 3-year-old preschool will be funded as well.
The member for Adelaide. Member for Adelaide has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Human Services. How is the Malinaskis Labor government supporting rough sleepers who face severe hardship from extreme weather?
Thank you very much to the member for Adelaide for that terrific question. She's a fantastic advocate for people who are rough sleeping and those that are helping people who are rough sleeping. Last week, the weather forecast predicted some really rough weather to happen across the course of Sunday through to Wednesday. That weather certainly arrived with a vengeance. There was terrible rain, it was quite cool, and the winds came at the same time. While the news was telling us to secure our backyards, the Malinaskis Labor team was happily out telling people who were sleeping rough that there would be a code blue over the weekend. The Labor Party started the code blue system in 2016, along with code red, under that minister at the time, Minister Zoe Bettison, in fact. I'm afraid the member for Chafee is misunderstanding history, which is quite normal. So I was very pleased on Friday when, well in advance of the weather coming in, that this was announced. So it gave services plenty of time to get extra staff, volunteers, supplies on board, and also to get the word out to people who are on the street that there would be shelter available. Of course, the Code Blue response does include a range of options. We have many across regional areas and in the CBD that provide overnight accommodation, including West Care, the Baptist Church on Millers Court in the western part of the CBD. But also we have got Hutt Street Centre and SYC's Foundry that offer extended hours so that people can pop in during the day to get extra help and support, and also get assistance with ongoing referrals for accommodation and support to achieve housing outcomes. So across the weekend I attended the West Care Centre, who were providing an excellent service on Sunday night where 18 people slept there. Nearly 50 people went in to receive a hot meal and some further supplies to help them stay safe. And then last night West Care provided support to another 52 people with 25 or thereabouts, I think it was, staying last night. Dozens of other people popped into Hutt Street and to SYC to get help. Yesterday morning at 6:30 I headed to the outreach service to join them, to go out into the parklands, into stairwells, shopfront recesses, and a whole range of places across the city to meet with people, talk with people that this outreach service was now able to identify by name, know their history, and talk about the journey that they were working with them on trying to secure some ongoing permanent housing, which for many is a very, very difficult journey to achieve. I note the member for Adelaide and our Premier are both very ardent supporters of the process to achieve zero homelessness across our state. And as part of that, as members would be aware, we've started with that $6 million extra funding going into homelessness services. They will be able to continue this great work moving forward. I've made no secret of my genuine distress when the transition occurred to the new alliance model, and that was way too fast. It didn't provide time for people to hand over the cases that were already under their care to the new service. This has meant a delay, but I'm pleased to say we now finally have got the outreach services that these people need. Thank you to everyone for doing such a great job this weekend.
The member for Morialta.
I thank the member. Thank you, Speaker. My question is for the Minister for Education. How does the Minister reconcile his last answer with Labor's policy commitments to the people of South Australia before the last election? And with your leave, sir, and that of the House, I'll explain.
If you sought his leave granted. Member for Morialta.
Sir, in my last question, the Minister answered when asked whether the preschool for 3-year-olds would start in 2026. He referred to a 10-year transition process in Victoria. He referred to capacity problems, and he referred to potentially the need for a staged approach. Whereas amongst Labor's policy commitments, I quote, Labor's commitment to offer 3-year-old preschool to all children in South Australia from 2026.
Order.
So, given interjection, sir,
Order.
despite leave,
Order.
I seek to quote again
the member
Labor's
for Morialta.
commitment to offer 3-year-old preschool to all children in South Australia from 2026, and backed up by Labor's election posters talking about universal access to preschool and their advertisements and their commentary and debates. Why now is the Minister walking away from a commitment to start this program for all children in 2026?
Minister. The Minister has the call.
Well, thank you, Speaker, and I thank the member for his sudden interest in early childhood. I'm not going to be lectured. I'm not going to be lectured to. I'm not going to be lectured to, Speaker, by a party that went into the last election and didn't even have an early childhood policy. Did not even have an early childhood policy whatsoever.
Order.
I tell you, more seat warmers than a Kia Carnival on your side.
Minister will be seated. Under order. Members, there are only 4 minutes of question time remaining. I know you're eager to hear the order. Member for Wright. Member for Wright's called to order. Minister, if you wish to be here to answer, you will come to order. The member for Morialta on a point of order which I'll hear under 134.
Yeah, so Standing Order 127 prevents reflections on members. Standing Order 98 prevents debates. If the minister is embarrassed, he should apologise and answer the question.
Order. 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 I'm going to take in hand 98 only for the moment. I'm not sure that I necessarily heard words that would engage other standing orders, but nevertheless, the minister is called to order, and I draw the minister's attention to Standing Order 98 and ask him to chart a line close to the question. The minister.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm not embarrassed. I mean, I think what we are seeing here, really, Speaker, is the world's lamest Jedi mind trick. You know, this is not the former Liberal government you are looking for. You know, you guys are unbelievable. It is our election commitment. It is our election commitment. We stand by it. I think the member just did a pretty incredible job of mischaracterising the answer I gave to his first question. What I spoke about in terms of if you let me finish.
Member for Morialta is called to order. The minister.
Just calm down.
The minister has the call. Member for Mawson's called to order. The minister.
My answer, Speaker, to the member for Morialta's first question, when I spoke about a 10-year implementation period and staging, was in reference to what is happening in Victoria, which, along with New South Wales and the ACT, 3 of the other jurisdictions which are moving to having 3-year-old preschool. Of course, we understand how important it is. The former Liberal government did not support our policy and went to the March 2022 election without an early childhood policy at all. It is very easy, Speaker, to reconcile the answer I gave to the member for Morialta's first question. We announced that we would begin preschool for 3-year-olds, universal preschool for 3-year-olds from 2026. I know it's too much to ask that they read the whole paragraph, but if they read the entire paragraph, you would know that. And the commitment we gave was that we would have a royal commission into how we best deliver it, because we know it is a very big task. And that royal commission will look at where capacity currently exists in our system to accommodate 3-year-olds who we hope will take up preschool. It will also look at how we start it, where the priority areas, of course, are, because we have some 3-year-olds who are in far more vulnerable areas, far more vulnerable family backgrounds, who may benefit from an early start. These are all the things that the Royal Commission, we have said, will look at. So I have no difficulty whatsoever reconciling my answer. I think it's incredibly churlish from those opposite to start taking issue with a policy that they got absolutely nowhere near, and an exceptionally important policy area to our state, early childhood. You didn't even have a policy before the election, you bunch of snoozers. You didn't even have a policy. If it's so important to you, have a policy on it. Where were you? Still asleep.
Order. The standing orders prevent quarrels between members. The question before the chair is that the House